The vast, unforgiving expanse of the North African desert, 1942. Beneath a relentless sun, World War II raged not just in massive tank battles, but in the shadows carried out by small, elite units operating deep behind enemy lines. This is the story of one such mission, a daring raid that has been largely lost to the sands of time. This is Operation Selam. The mission's architect was the brilliant Hungarian explorer and desert expert Laszlo Almasi. Though not a conventional soldier, his unparalleled knowledge of the Sahara made him invaluable to the German Abwehr, their military intelligence service. His objective was audacious: to infiltrate two German agents, Johann Zeppler and Heinrich Stansteed, into British-held Cairo. To succeed, they would have to cross more than 2,000 miles of the most hostile terrain on Earth, a feat considered impossible by both sides. Their unit was a specialized detachment of the Brandenburgers, Germany's premier special forces. But this wasn't a typical military convoy. Almasi assembled a small, motley group of German and Italian soldiers, handpicked for their resilience and desert experience. Their vehicles were a collection of captured Allied trucks, including American Fords, repainted and modified for the extreme journey. This deception was their first line of defense. To any distant British patrol, they would appear as just another Allied supply column. The planning was meticulous. Almasi, using his own pre-war expedition maps, charted a course through the vast emptiness of the Libyan desert, far south of the established coastal routes. They would navigate by the sun and stars, relying on secret fuel and water caches they had buried years before. The route was a ghost path known only to him, threading through treacherous rock fields and seas of soft sand. Every calculation had to be perfect. One mistake, one breakdown they couldn't fix, would mean a slow, certain death under the desert sun. In late April 1942, under the cloak of darkness, Operation Selam began. The small convoy slipped out of the Axis lines at Yallo Oasis and plunged into the unknown. The first few days were a brutal test of endurance. The heat was suffocating, reaching over 120 degrees Fahrenheit during the day, then plummeting to near freezing at night. Water was rationed with painful strictness. The constant drone of the engines was their only companion in the crushing silence of the desert. The landscape was an enemy in itself. One moment they were navigating flat, gravel plains that allowed for good speed. The next, they were bogged down in the treacherous fek, sand as fine as flour that could swallow a truck whole. The men worked tirelessly, digging, pushing, and willing their vehicles forward. Every sunrise was a victory, every sunset a brief reprieve. Almasi, calm and resolute, was the heart of the operation, his quiet confidence holding the fragile mission together. Their first major obstacle was the Gulf Kibber Plateau, a massive sandstone escarpment rising hundreds of feet from the desert floor. Almasi led them to a hidden pass he had discovered on a pre-war expedition, the Aqaba Pass. It was a steep, winding track, barely wide enough for their trucks. One wrong move would send a vehicle with its precious cargo of fuel and water tumbling into the abyss. With nerves of steel, the drivers expertly maneuvered their heavy trucks up the ascent, inch by agonizing inch. After crossing the plateau, they were in truly uncharted territory. Here, the risk of discovery intensified. They were now deep inside enemy-controlled Egypt. They traveled mostly at night, hiding the trucks under camouflage nets during the day. the men enduring the stifling heat inside their metal coffins. The tension was palpable. A lone British long-range desert group patrol could appear over any dune. The crackle of the radio brought no comfort, only the constant fear of interception. One afternoon, disaster struck. A lookout spotted a dust cloud on the horizon, an Allied patrol. Immediately, the men scrambled to their positions. The trucks, already camouflaged, blended into the rocky terrain. The soldiers lay flat, weapons ready, hearts pounding in the sand. Minutes felt like hours as the distant vehicles drew closer, then mercifully changed course, disappearing back into the shimmering heat. They had not been seen. The collective sigh of relief was silent, but profound. The mission was still alive. Their journey was a relentless battle against attrition. One of the trucks suffered a catastrophic engine failure. It couldn't be repaired. Its vital supplies were quickly transferred, and the vehicle was abandoned, a lonely monument to their perilous journey. The loss tightened their margins even further. They were now running on fumes and faith. Finally, after nearly a month of hardship, they reached the outskirts of the Nile Valley, near the city of Asayat. They had done it. They had crossed the impassable desert. Almasy and the Brandenburgers would turn back to make the treacherous journey home, their part of the mission complete. Almasy's return journey was just as perilous. Now critically low on fuel and water, they had to rely on a captured British supply dump they had scouted. Under the cover of a moonless night, they slipped into the enemy camp, siphoning the fuel and water they desperately needed, and vanished back into the desert without a trace. It was a final, audacious act in a mission defined by daring success, but their luck eventually ran out. Despite the ultimate failure of the espionage part of the mission, Operation Salam itself remains one of the most remarkable feats of military logistics and special operations in World War II. Laszlo Almasy and his small band of soldiers achieved the impossible. They proved that with incredible skill, iron will, and an intimate knowledge of the terrain, even the most formidable natural barrier could be overcome. Their journey across 2,000 miles of hostile desert, a ghost convoy moving through the heart of the enemy, is a testament to the forgotten sagas of the war, a story of endurance and audacity played out on a vast, empty stage. These men were not front-page heroes. They were shadows operating far from the main theater of war, their successes and failures known only to a select few. But their story, like countless others, forms the hidden fabric of history, a reminder that the greatest battles are often not the loudest, but the ones fought in silence against impossible odds. If this hidden story moved you, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. More forgotten heroes are waiting to be remembered.